Welcome to Escape Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello!
Hi!
We are here this week after a week that we have had. We are talking about Season 5, Episode 20, The Devil You Know. Mm-hmm. Written by your boy, Ben Edlund.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. I don't know what that was.
And so we usually find out who wrote and directed episodes when we come and sit down to record. Mm-hmm. We both recognized it was Robert Singer because of the zooms in this. Like, they were pretty good.
So
pretty good.
So many. Oh man. Yeah, it's good.
They were great. But overall, I did not love this episode. Crowley made it, like, if you said this before we started recording, had Crowley not been in this episode, there was really nothing to it.
This is the setup to the final 2 episodes of this season, so they need to add all this exposition in. But then, like, it wasn't enough. Like, there's not enough information there, so they kind of had to add this, like, Sam Brady B plot.
That made absolutely no sense. Like, if you're gonna bring back somebody, like, bring back Luis.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was at the bar. We saw him on screen.
Yeah, like, they acted like we were supposed to recognize him, but I was like, he's never been in this show.
Never. Absolutely never. I don't understand why we had some off-screen character who was so integral to his, like, to Sam's Stanford life. And, like, at the same time, Brady looked so much older than Sam. I don't know if it's because he was in a suit.
Yeah.
But even Sam in his, like, FBI outfit, like, there was 10 years difference between the two of those. Two of the guys.
They look really different. In a, like, season arc sense, I know why they added in Brady. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't know, it just annoyed me for some reason. It felt like a retcon, but it wasn't.
I guess the only thing, it kind of was though, because, like, he says something along the lines of, like, she was baking cookies. It's like, what are you talking about? She died in the middle of the night. Like,
yeah, there were cookies though, right? There were cookies. I'm sure there were cookies. But yeah, why was she in a nightgown? That's kind of creepy. Also, like, everyone, like, we always assumed that, like, Yellow Eyes killed Jessica, but no, it was this random dude, Brady, who's never given, like, a demon name. I think that's actually more annoying somehow.
Yeah, like, he seems to be, like, if he's the like assistant to Pestilence, which, sounds like a pretty important job. Why does it's like, what's his name? Tim the Demon, whatever. Meg's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she just could just, like, flick through a Wikipedia page of demons and just pick one.
True.
Go for it. Never mind. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, this episode, this is a problem with end of season stuff. Is there's got to be a setup, and this was it. And
yeah.
I
mean, the plot of this episode is not it. Like I said, every moment with Crowley on screen, which is pretty much every scene, like, Mark Sheppard was just amazing in this. Like, I forgot how, like, snarky he was in the beginning. Like, he remains to be snarky throughout the rest of the series, but like, there's something about this particular Like, I think it's the like cutting in and out so much of like, do we trust him? Do we not? Do we trust him? Do we not? It's just like, that made me laugh like a lot. That like that's the thing that made me laugh the most. I think it was just like, I have a plan. You're the bait. I'm gonna leave you here. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna leave you here. It's like, what are you doing, Crowley? Do we trust you? Do we not?
I think that's it actually, because in later seasons, like, we do trust Crowley. Like, there's always, maybe he might screw them over like on occasion, but he's so head over heels in love with Dean. Don't even debate me on this. It's so true that, like,
it is.
In the later seasons, he just does stuff for them. Like, he's like, okay, I'll help you. But yeah, here he's a demon, and all the other times they've dealt with demons, they've been horribly betrayed. Like Ruby being the last example of that. Is Crowley Dean's Ruby?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking this as I was watching the episode, like, the reason why, so it's so bad, but it's so true for Supernatural. The reason why Dean trusts Crowley immediately is because he's a dude.
He's not just a dude. He's like a nerdy little dude.
He is a nerdy little dude, yeah. Because if you think about it, like, Crowley has done essentially the same. His introduction's essentially the same as Ruby's, just less action-packed, I guess, in that, you know, she came in and saved Sam when they were in trouble. And Crowley did the same thing. He gave them, like, he killed the demons that were under his control with the cult, but, like, still gave them a powerful weapon, which Ruby did with the knife.
Yeah.
So they did the same thing. And that got Sam in trouble, but for Dean, that's A-okay, because he's a nerdy little dude.
I mean, yeah.
He's a nerdy little dude in a suit.
Oh, he has a type.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Their introductions are 100% correct. I mean, if we're going... this is so bad. I feel like it's Supernatural, though. I feel like we're meant to trust Ruby less because she's a woman. That's awful, isn't it? But it's true.
But it's true. Yeah, it's 100% true.
It's just because, you know, oh, she might get between the brothers because, yeah, heterosexual relationships. Yeah.
But then you get Crowley, who's like already kissed a dude on screen, and then like in this episode it's like, yeah, we're lovers now, like with Brady. He's like, we're lovers. And then like at the end of the episode with Bobby, it's like, I think Crowley's gay.
I feel like they didn't lean into like potentially pansexual Crowley like enough in Supernatural. Like,
I agree, yeah.
And because sure, like, he's a I was gonna say 1,000-year-old. He's not. He's more like a few 100-year-old demon. Like,
he doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Yeah, he makes this episode. Love Mark Sheppard, 100%. One of the best convention guests. If he's there, like, go see him because he's hilarious. But like, don't take him too seriously because he is mean. But like, mean in a nice way.
Yeah.
Wish I could do a better impression of him. Just like, no. It's not British enough. I'm like, I'm British, but I'm not British enough to be Mark Sheppard.
It's because it's that, yeah.
It's
It's a very weird one. Like, it's, I don't know what kind of area of, I guess he's from London, like South London or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. He's great though. Yeah. He is great. So we can get into the episode and get through it. It felt, so it's funny. It felt like a really long episode, but I feel like it's actually quite a short one. If that makes sense.
It was cut up into like many acts. Like it went a long way, but the actual middle bit, like not a lot happened. But yeah, the beginning and the end are quite far away from each other, so I think it feels longer than it is.
Yeah, definitely. So we get the recap, I was surprised that Jessica dying was the first thing that came up. I was really confused at why they would bring that.
Same.
But, you know, it made sense. They brought up the Croatoan virus, Crowley's introduction, Gabriel's plan from the end of the last week's episode about getting all the rings and showing the 2 rings that they've already gotten. Pestilence disgusting intro, which I will forever and always hate. Him sneezing on that convenience store attendant was the worst ever. And then it goes into the episode. So there's 2 doctors and they're talking about a vaccine, and I was just like, this is hitting way too close to home, because at this point it's swine flu.
Yeah.
Do
you remember swine flu? I remember swine flu.
I do. Yeah.
Like, it was nowhere near as big as COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It seems like by this episode, it might have been bigger in the States. Because I don't remember people wearing masks in England while it was happening. But there are people wearing masks in this episode, like a little bit later on.
That's true. I guess, like, it sounds weird that the internet wasn't such a big thing back then either. That's like, so people weren't all, like, online about swine flu. It was quiet. There wasn't, like, a stay-at-home thing, was there? But, like, it was quieter, though. I remember, like, my boyfriend at the time got really, he did get what I thought was swine flu. Like, we had to, like, ring a number and be like, I think he's got swine flu. And then I had to go pick up some antiviral. That was the difference. They had antivirals, like, immediately for swine flu. So I had to go pick up some antivirals from the pharmacy. And I walked, like, through my university town, and I didn't see anyone. And I was like, is this, like, the end of the world? I do remember, like, distinctly feeling that it was a thing, but, like, I just didn't, like, COVID was so far off the scale, I guess. They didn't, yeah. But, like, classes were still happening. Like, nobody was masking. And then you get, like, stuff like this in this lab, and it's well, they refer to swine flu as an epidemic, don't they? So I think it was spreading more. Yeah, you're right. In the States, where obviously, like, COVID is a pandemic. So
right, exactly. The funniest thing about the interaction between these 2 doctors, I don't know if you noticed this, but they're both left-handed. I was like, that's never going to happen. 2 lefties in a room. Never.
Okay, no, this is actually legit. Not even joking. I work in STEM, right? And the proportion of left-handed people that I work with is extremely high, considering how big our workforce is. Yeah. Huh. I don't know if there's any kind of papers out there as to people who go into these fields are more likely to be left-handed. But there was one point where I was working, this was years ago, working in a team of maybe about 40 people, and 10 of them were left-handed, which is, like, wildly, like, a massive proportion.
Disproportion, yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, it's just, all scientists are left-handed, I'm calling it.
So, they're just talking about science things, like about doing human trials and trying to get this vaccine out, and, like, talking about how they should be giving out the vaccine for free. That's the thing that, like, made me laugh, is that they weren't, I don't know what the situation was over here, but like I said, antivirals were available, so I don't know if that was free or not. Probably not. We then, like, as they're having a conversation, you see this janitor in the background, and he's cleaning up, and he interrupts their conversation, and they ask who he is, and he says, I'm running the experiment, because he, like, jabs somebody in the neck, and then goes out the door, and he smashes the, like, card reader on the other side of the door, like that's gonna do anything. Like, whatever. We all know that breaking the monitor doesn't break the computer, and this is the exact same thing.
All of those rooms with things like card readers always have a button to get out. Like, that's like literally you have to have one. Like, that's a thing.
And presumably he's just injected them with the Croatoan virus. We don't really get a clear explanation as to what is going on, because this is I think it's supposed to just introduce you to this company I don't know.
The way I saw it, and I feel like this becomes clear in next episode, is so pestilence is spreading the flu, right? Mm-hmm. And they make a reference this later on. It's like, well, it's just the flu. Like, so people seem to be just getting that. But the actual Croatoan virus is in the vaccine. So they give people that way. So when he's saying they're all talking about conducting human trials on the vaccine, then he's like, actually, I'm the one doing the trials, and then he stops them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it's a vaccine in quotation marks. So it's a thing that everybody was like, conspiracy theory about.
Yeah, I feel like this wouldn't fly now. Because I think it's actually I feel like it would be, what's the word? Like, not unethical. Like, just immorally kind of grey to make any suggestions that vaccines were like not tampered with in some way, because there are so many conspiracy theories now about vaccines that for TV shows to say it's like, maybe don't like help that.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think you could ever take this particular scene out of context. There's too much, like, why would a janitor randomly stab somebody in the neck with a needle? Like, it's not done in, say if it was done in like House or something where it's like in a much more medical setting, and like maybe you could be like, oh no, this comes from like a legit hospital or whatever. Like, nah, this is
all I'm saying is people still think there are microchips in the vaccine, so the leap to like, oh my god, it's going to turn you into like a flesh-eating zombie it's not that big a leap.
No, it's not that big of a leap.
I mean, one good thing that does come out of this is they were presuming, in the writers of Supernatural, that if there was an pandemic, that people would be charging for the vaccine, and that didn't end up happening, so it's pretty good.
That is very true.
Yeah.
Yep. They did. Society did the right thing. Well, maybe not society. Government step in. I don't know. Whatever it would be. And so the doctor who got stabbed with the vaccine / Croatoan virus / whatever concoction attacks the other doctor, and we see like the blood splatter, and it goes into the title card. Yeah,
it's a good old blood splatter. Yeah. So we first see Sam and Dean this episode, and they are entering a hospital in masks, which again, like, it's so normal now, but like it was so weird to see them like acting with masks on. Like, I don't know. It's
what I was really hoping when they're having the conversation with the doctor, I was like, I wonder if she's actually saying those lines or whether they dubbed them in afterwards. Like, they changed it, because like you could say anything.
You really could. I wondered that a lot, because there was like a whole season of Grey's Anatomy where they did it like in COVID, and they all wearing masks all of the time, pretty much. I was like, but how? Were you like, did they just have to do like, was it ADR like the whole episode? Like,
I wouldn't imagine they could do that. It costs way too much. They probably just had like
put mics in
hidden
there.
mic. Yeah.
Anyway, it's fine.
I don't know.
So Dean says, check it out, I look like the king of pop, like, and then he says, too soon. I'm trying to remember what year Michael Jackson died. I think it was like 2008. I don't know. Anyway.
I don't care.
But the doctor then says like, oh, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the CDC is here, but what you really need is a vaccine. Haha.
Yeah.
Sam asks, if you notice anything unusual about the strain, like any signs of behavioural changes, like aggression maybe. Because I guess Sam and Dean are presuming that the flu is going to end up becoming the Croatoan virus because pestilence. Dean says, have the flu victims shown any homicidal tendencies? And the doctor's like, no, it's relatively mild flu. That's about it. But she said that the thing unusual is that a day and a half ago we didn't have a single case. Now we're looking over 70. The infectious equivalent of a briefcase bomb. So that might be a little unusual. And then Dean just says out loud, oh, that's kind of the same time those statues started crying. He says it to Sam, but maybe he thought because he was wearing a mask she wouldn't be. She's
maybe
2 feet away.
And it's not like one of those things where they step off to the side. It's literally they just talk to each other.
Yeah. Maybe they're it's the apocalypse, who cares anymore?
Yeah.
Weird stuff's happening everywhere. And the doctor's like, did you just say a bunch of statues started crying? He's like, no, who would say that? Crazy people. Which we are not. And the doctor just gives up and says, can you just get some vaccine? And just walks off, which, to be fair, is an appropriate response to them.
Yeah.
So we cut to they're sat in the Impala and they are ringing Bobby, and he just says, let me guess, another steaming hot pile of swine flu. And, they're basically saying it doesn't make sense because they're following pestilence as far as they know, and all they're seeing is flu cases. Is this it? It doesn't seem that bad.
Right.
But they also can't seem to follow the pattern. It seems like they're chasing pestilence from the flu cases, but then they're just springing up sort of randomly heading east, I think, but and so Bobby's just head east. And Dean says, we're in West Nevada. East is all there is.
Yep. Which, I mean, you've got California, and then that's about I'm pretty sure they probably were coming from California.
Most likely.
I don't know. Mm-hmm.
And then Crowley just appears in their backseat and says, say, I've got an idea.
I'm so sad that being Crowleyed isn't a thing yet. I was hoping it would happen in this episode, but it's not yet.
It's not a thing yet. It's such a shame. So Dean swerves. You think he'd get used to people popping up in his backseat? Cass does it. And Sam's and tries to stab him really quickly. But he was gone. The car stopped. So Crowley's just on the side of the road and he's like, fancy a fag and a chat? Then he's like, you're upset, we should discuss it. We're not here. And Sam immediately goes after him with the knife, really angry. He's like, what you did to us? Because I had to think about how he betrayed them. I'm putting it in quotation marks. So I was like, this happened so long ago. Because obviously he gave them the Colt and that's the last they saw of him. But then they tried to shoot Lucifer with it and it didn't work. So presumably maybe they think that he screwed them over.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he does say later on, I think, that he says, well, I didn't betray you because I didn't know it was not going to work. Basically.
I mean, that's it, isn't it? Crowley didn't know. I fully believe he didn't know that it wasn't going to work. The Colt was their best bet at that point against Lucifer. And yes, they lost Ellen and Joe, but they knew what they were getting into trying to shoot the devil. Yeah, so it's not his fault, but I guess they need someone to be angry at.
Yeah.
See, and this is why this is how you know Crowley likes Dean better, because Sam's sort of stalking towards him and he looks at Dean and says,
call your dog off, please. Give me one good reason.
I can give you pestilence. It's got your interest, doesn't it?
Are you actually listening to this? Sam.
I guess Sam's a bit more wary of demons since Ruby. But
yes.
Also, at this point, I don't feel like they can be choosy, where they get help from.
I agree. Yeah.
I think Dean understands that too. I mean, he doesn't care anymore, does he? So he's like, let's just see where this takes us. Like, why not trust the demon? Yeah. So yeah, Crowley does say, like, I thought the cult would work. It was an honest mistake. It's all part of the learning process. But I still want the devil dead. He goes, but one thing has changed. Now the devil knows I want him dead, which makes me the most buggered son in all of creation. This line is a very Ben Edlund line where Dean's just like rolls his like, it's like, holy crap, I don't care. It's just the way he says it.
Yeah.
And then we get that like iconic line of Crowley's is like, they burnt down my house. They ate my tailor. It's just every line of his is so great in this episode. Like all of this is delivered so well. Like 2 months under a rock, like a bloody salamander. Every demon on hell and earth's got his eyes out for me, and yet here I am talking to Sam and Dean Winchester under a friggin' spotlight, and he like blows out the lamp, which feels like almost like a direct like comparison to Cass, because he's often under a streetlight talking to them, and Crowley's like, "No, shove your street lamp!" Like, you know. So he's like, come with me. Do you want the horse from the rings or not? Like, I know all about that. Let's go. And like, he just like clicks his fingers, right? And they appear at this abandoned house. I'm clicking. You can probably hear it. Does he click?
Because they have the Impala, so I'm guessing he drove in the car with them, which would be super awkward.
That's true. I don't know why I thought he teleported them. He definitely drove because they do have the car. That's really funny. So
with like Sam steaming in the front seat with Crowley just being like, I can just imagine him with a knife just like picking at his nails or something, just being really irritating.
Like, how long was the drive, you know?
Yeah.
I want to know. That's great. And like they all would have had to awkwardly like get back in the car after having this big fight on the side of the road.
Yeah. Things we missed out on.
I know. This is the funny bit. That like even just a shot of like them driving in silence, like stone faced, would have been hilarious. Honestly.
What happened to the cult? That was one thing that I was thinking about this entire episode. Like, they still have it, right?
They still have it. I guess it's at Bobby's house.
Yeah, I guess they don't carry it with them because it's too... I guess it doesn't serve a purpose anymore because they have the knife. They have limited amount of bullets, so I don't know. Maybe they're still angry at it because it didn't kill the devil.
Yeah, you're going in the bad gun box. It's like if you roll too many nat ones and a dice, it goes in like the bad dice bag. So like maybe if they like shoot it with the sights off on their guns, like no, go in the bad gun safe. So yeah, they arrive at this house and Crowley's like bitching about it. He's like,
here we are. My life on the lam. How the mighty have fallen. Single pane glass. Used contraception in the fireplace. The water damage alone.
My heart's bleeding for you.
They play him very camp in this episode.
Yeah.
I feel like Crowley always kind of has been, but like, again, I don't know when they made him like, I don't know. The problem is he's like British, so he's camp. Like that's just American.
Yeah, I think so. But also, like, I don't know if he ever is not like, he maybe like tamps it, dampen it a little bit, or like tampers it down a little bit. But I don't think he ever loses that campiness.
I don't think so. Yeah. There's a convention question to Mark Sheppard, and I feel like he would answer this without just sort of like, as like, was Crowley written camp, or did you intentionally play him as camp? I feel like that's a good one.
That is a very good question, yeah.
Yeah. So, Dean's unsympathetic, obviously, asks how he knows about the rings. why I thought they were teleported, because they literally pick up their conversation where they left off, but like they definitely just had that like stony silence. It's so it really annoys me in TV shows when they do this, and I know why, but they do it so often where they go to another location and then exactly pick up their conversation. Anyway, and Crowley says he's been keeping a close eye on you. This annoyed me so much because I mentioned this at like the beginning of somewhere about 3 seasons ago about this tracking device that Crowley put in the Impala that he could hear what they were saying. And I was like, we have to keep an eye out for when he does that so we can know all the conversations that Crowley was listening to. And we didn't do it.
Well, yes. Yeah. I guess we just have to go back and like watch from... I mean, it's been 10 episodes, so it's not been that many, because it was Abandon All Hope.
Well,
So...
I mean, he says like, you know, he has a magical coin that trumps your hex bags. Just bring stuff up randomly. It allows him to hear things too, and the things I've heard. The immediate one that came to mind was like Cass eating burgers in the Impala. He heard all of that of him like, these make me so happy.
I was gonna say, do you think he calls Sam a moose because he's like had sex in the car and he like made a weird noise one time?
Oh god. Yeah, probably. Oh. So, you know, Crowley knows about the coins. He wants to put the devil back in the cage. He's in, because otherwise he's screwed. So
Right.
he's going to get them pestilence. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening here. And basically he knows the like personal assistant of the horseman. He calls him the horseman's stable boy. And he'll know where they are. So they're going to bring him to the house, and Crowley's going to do his demon stuff and convince him that they're on the right side and that he should just give over pestilence.
Yeah.
So they do this cut where Dean says, "Where is this demon of yours?" And then Niveus Pharmaceuticals, so the vaccine from the beginning of the episode, pops up, and it's the boardroom. And they're having this meeting about the vaccine.
Sorry, the reason why I laugh is because we all knew that Big Pharma was run by demons.
I mean, this is spot on. Yeah, like yeah. They don't have good press, do they? Especially if like TV shows are writing down literal board members as demons. Like,
right, exactly.
you gotta think maybe about your public image at some point if that's happening. Oh. So there's this guy there's Brady. We see Brady. We're going to see him later in the episode too. He's a blonde man in a suit.
Yes.
He's very much giving is it American Psycho vibes? Is that what it's called?
With Christian Bale,
With
right?
Christian Bale. Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, it's American Psycho.
Okay. Psycho. Yeah, he's clearly watched that movie, like Christian Bale's whole thing. I feel like there might even be some like direct references, but I haven't watched that movie in a very long time.
Forever.
Yeah. So they're trying to rush out the vaccine, like he's saying, like I don't want to hear weeks, I want to hear days. And there's a guy arguing back and forth with him, like it's not ready. There's stuff that's not, it's an unprecedented scale of what we're trying to do. And the guy says, like, we're doing our best. And Brady says this line of,
Are you doing your best? You're doing your best. Well, then do the best of somebody better.
Harsh.
yeah.
Yep.
So then after this meeting, we see Brady's office, and the guy who was arguing with him, well, not arguing, sort of like meekly, trying to tell him that he wasn't on time, walks into his office and says, like, you wanted to see me? And Brady says, look, we need people like you. Like, in fact, there's a position in communications that I think you'd be perfect for. And the guy's like, oh, wow, that sounds great. And Brady's like, it is great. What do you say? Like, you're ready to enter the cutthroat world of upper management? So many puns.
Yeah.
I mean, we should know he's a demon from the sheer amount of puns. Like,
yeah.
So then he cuts this guy's throat and grabs, like, the chalice of demon communication and gets all his blood. He sits back at his desk and he basically has the same conversation that he just had with his underling to this, like, bubbling mass of blood that, like, flies are popping out of. So clearly talking to Pestilence. So he's, like, saying, like, oh, how soon? Like, distribution on this scale. Like, we need some more humans. Like, we can't possess them all. Don't even get me started on the Teamsters. And he's just like, I'm doing my best. He's like, yes, sir. The best of someone better. Like, I think we said it before on the podcast, but, like, it all just rolls downhill, even in the demon world.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like how you knew he was talking to Pestilence because of the flies coming out. I thought that was quite a nice touch. Like, it wasn't just some, like, I guess we knew that they needed to find the demon that is in contact with Pestilence. So this is how they showed it. I don't know. I just liked it. And, like, we haven't seen the goblet or the chalice of blood communication method in a long time.
I feel like they dropped the chalice of blood at some point, which is kind of a shame because it's like a interesting way that demons communicate with their higher ups. But
the thing is, Crowley becomes the higher up, so he's always on screen. So why would anybody else be talking to him through that way?
And also, like, he would just be like, just like, can you just use a phone?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're back at the house and Sam is arguing with Dean. Also not very far away from Crowley.
I mean, he's already heard everything. So
yeah, this is true. This is very true. He's a bit of an eavesdropper, Crowley. He's into voyeurism. And so Sam's like, well, why are we even listening to him? It's totally insane. And Crowley's like, one big happy family, are we? Fantastic. And Crowley says that Sam is not coming with them simply because he doesn't like Sam and he doesn't trust Sam. And he keeps trying to kill Sam. Keeps trying to kill him. So Crowley really does not like Sam at all because he's like, I'm not asking you. I'm asking Dean. Like, you're not important to this equation, which I think is really interesting because, you know, a lot of the demons kind of almost look up to Sam because he's, you know, Lucifer's vessel. But Crowley's like, nah, you're a bit much, mate. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you.
You're just some dude.
Exactly. And I'm wondering if it's like the salesman in Crowley as well that's like sort of manipulating Dean to get him to like do things because he's like, you know, what's it gonna be? And then he starts to walk away. So you can enjoy your sunsets. So Dean, for whatever reason, without Crowley saving Dean's life, trusts him. And, you know, they drive off to wherever they're going to be going. We then cut to like a little bit later and Sam is like well on his way to getting drunk. He's on the phone with Bobby and he's like, and Dean just walks away. Like,
I love this. Like, so this made me think of this for some reason. So they have like craft groups in my area and they call them like knit and natters, but like it's colloquially known as like a stitch and bitch. Right. And I thought, this is what they're doing.
It's a drinking bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's quite a heartfelt conversation between Sam and Bobby because Sam sort of changes subject after Bobby's like, well, I kind of agree that, we have to go with any lead that we have. And Sam asks about when Bobby was possessed and like how he managed to take his body back from the demon.
Yeah.
And how he did that. And Sam is now formulating the plan that we all know is coming.
Yeah.
And how, some of the previous conversations that we've had and what the show has had about Sam's attitude to certain things.
We can open the cage. Great. But then what? We just lead the devil to the edge and get him to jump in?
You got me.
What if you guys lead the devil to the edge and I jump in?
Sam is really trying to convince Bobby that, if Bobby can do it, then I can do it. Like, I'm strong enough to do it. And Bobby's like, no, you are not strong enough. Like, the devil is going to find every chink in your armor and he's going to use it against you. Your fear, your grief, your anger. And let's face it, you're not exactly Mr. Anger Management. How are you going to control the devil when you can't control yourself? Which is this is the reason why Brady is in this episode, is exactly this.
Precisely.
I just hate that it's so shoehorned in. For a Ben Edlund episode, I'm surprised at how shoehorned it is in. Like, he's usually pretty good at like getting there without it being so direct.
Yeah, it was so on the nose of like, oh, this episode is about Sam's control. We're going to show that Sam, he looks like he doesn't have control, but when he really needs to, he can. And that was pretty much the whole point of this episode. Like, there wasn't nothing else happened, really, apart from the end, maybe.
Not even that, really. I mean, I don't feel like this is as egregious as the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Because that was literally like, oh, by the way, if you read the books, it's in this. It's like, what are you talking about? Whereas at least, they have a character who knows, who is in communication with the person they're trying to find. So at least there is that kind of thread. But it definitely feels a little, I don't know, strange.
Yeah. It's fine. I do. It was nice to see Bobby and Sam interacting. It's been a little while. They still kind of got that relationship after everything that's happened. But I think we saw some of that as well, where they were locking Dean down when he was trying to get possessed by Michael, with them really working together.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
but even then, Bobby was being a bit snappy, but at the same time, he's being snappy because Dean was being very rude.
That's true.
So
yeah. So the point that Sam made about Bobby being able to snap himself out of demon possession is actually I think it's quite good. I think it would count as foreshadowing, because the reason that Bobby did that was to save them, right? Bobby loves them. They're his kids. So, and ultimately, what snaps most people in this show out of possession, I'd even go as far to say all of them, I can't think of an example where it doesn't happen, is like love, right?
Love and family, yeah.
So I feel like that was kind of a reminding us as to how Bobby snapped out of his possession as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we're then back at the pharmaceutical company, like the office, and Dean has a pair of binoculars and he's looking through the door and he's like, demons? And Crowley's like, no, they're just human shields. The demons are up on the 12th floor. Dean starts to formulate a plan, like being all human, and Crowley's like, oh, you make it so complicated. He snaps himself inside and like kills the people. And Dean's like, oh crap. What I find so funny is that Dean doesn't even try to open the door. He just like knocks on the door. Like, if you think, like, I know there's not really anything he can do at that point because the people are absolutely 100% dead. But like, he literally goes up and like knocks on the door. Chris like, what? It's open. And as they walk, like Crowley like wipes off his knife and guides Dean to the lift to take him up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Why are you squeamish now?" Like,
I mean, it's true. Dean
That's
is a
so weird.
murderer. Like, he's murdered a lot of people.
yeah, exactly. He then like pushes Dean into the lift, and like, you know how that, I don't know if you've ever had anybody do this for you, but like they press the button for the floor that you need to go to, but don't get on yourself. That's exactly what Crowley does. And Dean's like, "What, you're not coming?" He's like, "No, there's demons up there. What are you talking about? Of course I'm not going."
Look, just do what I told you. And try to be convincing. It'll work like a charm. Trust me.
I love this because, like, Dean and Crowley, like, I feel like this scene just sets up, like, their whole relationship for, like, the rest of Supernatural. Like, I know I said, like, he becomes less backstabby later on, but Crowley does lead them to places that they don't want to go, like, very often, right? As in, like, not just, like, literally, but they end up doing things that they don't want to do. I mean, I think about, you know, Crowley eventually turning Dean into a demon, like that whole manipulation of him eventually getting there. Like, starts here. He's like, you know.
Well, he's a salesman.
Yeah.
So he yeah. I did make a note that like this is the beginning of the summer of love, like this little introduction.
They're such a cute little odd couple. And like, it's funny because there wasn't really much. The beginning scene of this, where like Dean's in the Impala and you see like Crowley jump in and like slit some people's throats. It's not that much different to how he operates with Cass. Like the exact same thing would have happened, except he would have been like smiting some people.
Yeah, that's very true.
Watching him through a window. I don't know. I just love it. There was something. Despite all the people that got murdered, it was a really funny scene.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Anyway.
So we're then inside Brady's office, and he like flicks the door open and sees Dean after he's just killed like the security, like I'm guessing it's demon security. And he's like, "Dean Winchester, what? No appointment?" It's like, it's kind of 11th hour kind of thing. They're both very suave.
Yeah.
Suave. So I mean, this is the real reason why they didn't take Sam, because Sam would have ruined the plan from the very beginning.
Oh, that's true. He does like to ruin plans.
And so they have a bit of a back and forth, and like Dean's like, "Well, you know, I've heard that you want the rings back, and you're willing to pay." And Brady's like, "No, I don't want the rings. I want to like kill you. You're the reason why everything's going like horribly wrong." So he starts to like beat up Dean like pretty badly. He's saying this is very therapeutic. You know, I really owe you one. And he's like kicking Dean like in the stomach. And then it like cuts to Dean, like with Dean just being on the ground. Yeah. I'm going to go into the next scene a little bit because I thought it was so weird, because he's on the ground like in pain being kicked. And then he's walking to the lift.
How did he get there?
Like as if, yeah. And Brady's like far away. Like you hear his voice is further away than being right on top of him. I'm like, what happened between A and B? Like, I know it was a commercial break, but like, what?
Yeah, I know, it's bad. But they think you just have like amnesia between the two, because you've watched like 3 to 5 minutes of ads, so.
True.
So, yeah, I mean, Brady stalks Dean like he's like a serial killer or something, you know, like in one of those horror movies. Dean is very final girling it right now, you know, like
Yep.
running away from the killer, because you can hear him in the background like, "Come on, we were just getting started, you know, I'm excited." Dean does manage to get onto the ground floor, but of course like Brady disappears behind him because he's a demon. Like, I don't know why Dean slowed down when he got out of the lift. Like,
So I think he was expecting to see Crowley there because that's where he was. So maybe he was like, this is part of the, well, no, because, yeah, I don't know why
Like, it wasn't part of the plan for him to get beaten up. So
Yeah.
why would he be like, oh, my man can jump him from behind? So, yeah, Crowley appears behind Brady, luckily, and puts a sack over his head that's got a devil's trap on the front of it, like trapping him in, and then hits him repeatedly over the head with a crowbar, like, repeatedly. It's gross. Those, like, squishing sounds. And he says, evening, uncle. And Dean's like, what the hell? And this was all Crowley's plan.
That was perfect.
Perfect. He didn't want the rings. He wanted me.
Imagine the surprise on your face.
He's such a bastard. I love him so much.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's like, you know, it went like clockwork. And he says, not for me, you son of a bitch.
That's what you get, working with a demon.
Which...
He never learns this.
No.
Never learns this.
Like, yeah. Crowley's like, yeah, I'm a demon. Like, what are you expecting from me? I'm just a little troublemaker. So in the Impala, Crowley's carving a sigil into Brady's, like, chest. It's gross. And Dean says, watch the upholstery. Again, they have such, like, little, like, dance between them. I love it so much. So yeah, Crowley says that the carving means that it means he can't zap off or smoke out, and he's locked in the meat suit. This is kind of like, why did they even bother with a devil's trap when they got back to the house then? Like, why did they even bother? Because he's literally got like a sigil carved in his chest that means he's basically just human. I guess he could still punch them, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess it's, you know, double protection, right?
Yeah, that's true. So Crowley tries to direct Dean to go a different way, not back to the house they came from, because he doesn't want to take Brady back to Sam. He says, like, look, they've got history. So Dean breaks the car and says, like, look, if you want to keep going, start talking, because why would this demon and Sam have any history? I mean, I'm presuming Dean thinks that it's something to do with the, like, year he was away, or the 3 months that he was away. I can't remember how long he was away.
I don't know, yeah.
Anymore. But yeah, the time he was in hell, maybe something to do with that. But So we see Sam waiting at the house, presumably, and I reminded myself of this later, absolutely wasted, because he's just drank that, like, whole bottle of whiskey.
But he is a Winchester, so he could probably get through it and be okay.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it explains some of his behaviour in this, if he had been, he's been drinking. So.
Yeah.
Because he is a bit out of character for Sam.
He's definitely a lot more angry.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that Bobby pointed out his anger issues, which is why Sam is angry for the rest of this episode. But also, like, he is an angry dude, but, like, he's not that angry. Like, he actually is, Sam is generally quite controlled when it's for the greater good. Like, he does struggle with it. But I actually think Sam's anger management is pretty good compared to
No,
Dean's, right?
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like he's unfairly called out on it.
The thing is, Sam's anger gets them more in trouble.
That's true.
Like, Dean's anger usually leads to, like, Dean getting hurt, whereas Sam's anger leads to, like, the world being destroyed.
Yeah, that's true. It has bigger consequences. Yeah, that's really true, actually.
It's not always the case. I'm pretty sure Amara's all Dean's fault. Because he's the one who kills Death because he's angry.
Oh.
But yeah, most of the time it's Sam's anger that leads them more into trouble.
Yeah. Oh dear. It's so true. I just realised how true that was. Oh. So he hears the Impala arriving, and then Crowley is there, and he's like, "Where's Dean?" And Crowley's just like, "Look, I'm against whatever's going to happen next." He says, "I begged Dean not to come back," but he replied with a colourful rejoinder about my corn shoot. Which you can imagine, like, yeah.
So, Go ahead. Go. Ruin our last best hope.
Again, like, being a fairly good salesman because he's, like, so derisive of Sam. It's almost like daring him to do something and that hopefully won't end up doing.
Proving him right.
Yeah. So Dean then catches up with Sam before he goes and sees Brady and is like, look, I need you to stay on mission. He's very John Winchester in this moment. Authoritative.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm doing this because I trust you. There's been a lot of talk about trust in the last few episodes. So I do feel like this was good of Dean to trust Sam to do this.
Yep.
And it is called sort of a reciprocation of Sam trusting him not to say yes to Michael.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, Brady's there and he just says, Sam, is that you? And Sam recognizes Brady. And it turns out that he knows him from the middle of their sophomore year. And Brady says, that's right, you had a devil on your shoulder even back then. Let it all sink in. And Sam does go absolutely batshit. Dean has to hold him back and he shouts, you introduced me to Jess. Which... So all the gears are turning in Sam's head because Brady, his friend, introduced him to Jess, which means that ultimately he got Jess killed. I mean, he doesn't know at this point that Brady killed Jess, but it does look like a setup.
Yeah.
It's really, like, to be fair to Sam, he does really manage to hold it back in this because Jess was just chosen as like a willing victim. Like, I don't know.
Unwilling victim.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unwilling, yes. Dean manages to get Sam back out of the room while Brady's like laughing at him. And Crowley is out there and, you know, says, well, it sounds like you got him like nice and fluffed. Thanks so much. Because he's going to go in and try to then sell them to his side after Sam threatening his life. And Dean's reminding Sam of why they need him. They need him to get to Pestilence. This bit was, I don't know why, I found this bit like just really annoying. Like, all this like, there's too much back and forth. Like, I feel we see Sam be angry, and then we have like Crowley trying to convince this guy who you know is never going to be convinced because he's a smarmy dude. It's like, why anyway, whatever. So yeah, Crowley's saying like, look, do the math. If Lucifer wins, he's going to basically like kill the demons. It's like reiterating what he said when we last saw Crowley.
Why would he destroy us? That makes no sense.
Look at what he is. Then take a look at what we are.
I think that line's really good because obviously Lucifer fell because he hates humanity, pretty much, right? And demons are humans. So why would he hate demons any less than humans?
Right. Exactly.
But it takes a bit of like figuring it out. I like it when they don't just spell it out for you sometimes. So yeah, Brady's not being convinced. You know, he's basically just saying like, Crowley, you're boned. There's that why drag me down with you. He goes, I think I'll die on the winning side. Thanks. Because ultimately, yeah, dying for a demon is better than being tortured for all of eternity by Lucifer. So
yeah.
Crowley goes back and explains to Dean that it doesn't work. This is where he first says like, "Where's your moose?"
I love that.
And like Dean automatically knows who he's referring to. Oh. So yeah, Crowley's saying, look, he's not budging, he's not coming over to our side, so now I've got to go do something else. A desperate swashbuckle I've been trying to avoid, go kick open a hive of demons. This whole bloody ring business better work. And he just goes. Dean goes to do the old Winchester wash.
In a nasty looking sink.
Nasty! I would not wash my face in that sink.
I think he drinks some of the water too. I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna get like sick.
Like Legionella, yeah, something. Nasty. And I swear, I don't know why. I'm conditioned. Like, but it moved to the mirror, and I was like, why is Cass in this episode?
They haven't found him yet.
Yeah, so, yeah, but it's just Sam, like, sticking a chair into the door, like, slamming it shut. I'm like, bye. And we just hear Dean, like, open the door, as Sam goes to Brady to confront him about college shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like that Sam and Brady were friends before he was possessed.
Yeah.
And, you know, he says when they came back from break, Brady was all messed up. He dropped out of pre-med. He said the drugs, the women. But that was then him possessed.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam tried really hard to get him back on the right track, but he never had a chance because he was a demon now.
Right.
So he ended up hooking Sam up to Jessica, and then he killed her on the ceiling. It was because Sam was basically too... He calls him a mild-mannered, worthless sack of piss. So he basically needed to, like, harden him up in order for the demons to want him. So
Yeah.
he needed some, dead wife trauma? I know Jess is not his wife, but that's essentially what she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, because of the events of that, it got him back into hunting and back into, like, fighting for him to make him, like, the perfect vessel, right?
And he confirms that though Azazel put the hit out on Jessica, that he was the one who actually killed her. And he explains, like, yeah, she let him in, she was baking cookies, and, like, she was so surprised when he turned against her. Sam obviously, like, pushes the knife against Brady's neck because this is hard for him to hear, and Brady's goading him into trying to get him to kill him. I mean, I think for the demon Brady, there's no way out of this now, right? Even if he's been captured and he goes back, like, he's going to be assumed to have given them information. So, yeah.
He's in a lose-lose. So the best way to go is to go now.
Get stabbed by Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're then back in the bathroom, and Dean's like, oh, come on, like, banging on the door, and Sam's on the other side, like, hey, wait, okay, I'm going to open it, like, just hang on. And Dean's like, what happened? He said, nothing. I'm fine, just calm down. He's like, nothing, like you said, we need him. And then Crowley appears. It's like, God, the day I've had. Good news, you're going to live forever. Because he's talking to Brady at this point. And Crowley explains that he went over, he did his plan. So the thing that I really don't like about this episode is that is a lot of repetition. Like, Crowley's already said he's going to go to a nest of demons and kill them. And then he comes back and says, I went over to a nest of demons and killed them. And then, like, before, when they were arguing, when he first appeared, he's like, I know how to get to Pestilence. It's like, then they get to the house. I know how to get to Pestilence because I know that. It's like, it's not like a normal conversation.
You're right, yeah. And, like, I think it's because so much in this episode happens off screen.
Yeah.
So they have to constantly bring it back as, like, this is where I've gone. Like, I disappeared and now I'm back and this is why I'm back. But back, I already said the original reason why I left. I think that's why that conversation between him and Brady annoyed me so much as well. Because it was like, it's just stuff that Crowley had already said before. It's slightly... fine.
So I think that's the issue with this episode. And why it doesn't feel like the episode really goes anywhere, because it's repeating itself.
This could have been half an episode. Like, honestly. Like, the stuff that actually happens in it is not a lot.
Yeah, exactly. He does expand a little bit, because he says, like...
Also might have given said Toad the impression that you left your post last night, because you and I are... wait for it. Lovers in league against Satan. Hello, darling.
And I love the fact he goes like, hello, darling. So now death is off the table. And you're also going to be on the eternal torment list with little old me. It breaks Brady like straight away. He's like, oh, no. Like, this is not good. I love this line from Crowley. He says, something else we have in common, apart from our torrid passion, of course, is he calls him Craven.
Yeah, Craven self-preservation. Like,
Yeah.
I've never... I guess it's like self-interest, isn't it, Craven? Like,
I guess so.
massively, like, self-indulgent.
He just says, why don't you tell me where Pestilence is? And then we hear like a hellhound howling in the background. And Crowley groans because he pulls out a coin. And he's like, remember that thing that I told you, the crafty little tracking device? Well, this is it. Like, this is what they planted on me. It's like, why have they never done this to Sam and Dean before this point?
I like...
The amount of times Meg got into like up close and personal.
Or like, yeah, or Ruby when she couldn't find them that time. Or like, yeah, this has just been pulled out of someone's ass. Like, sorry, but it's true. Just
yeah.
For reasons of what... Because they can't track... I mean, Heaven can't track them because of the stuff on their ribs, right? But I guess hell overrides that with a fancy coin. Like, I like to think that Crowley's tracking them forever after this, and they just keep finding them occasionally in their pockets. Like, God's sake, Crowley! Stop listening in our conversation.
Yeah. Just stop being jealous. Like, calm down. Dean is rightfully afraid because, you know, we know he's afraid of hellhounds.
Yeah, Robert Singer does a zoom on him when, as soon as we hear the hellhounds, he's like, Dean zoom. Which
apparently now Salt works against hellhounds because Dean's gonna go run and get some salt, and like, okay, I'm pretty sure it never worked in the past, but fine. Yeah, exactly. Originally they're gonna run, but Crowley's like, well, that's not gonna work. Like, now that, because we know that once they have the scent, they can find you forever. And Crowley like tosses the coin at his Witcher. I mean, he tosses the coin to Dean, and he like skips out. They go to find the salt. There's an amazing zoom on the salt.
Okay.
And as he goes for it, he misses, and like, because the hellhound comes through the window and he starts like shooting at it with the shotgun.
Why is Brady so afraid of the hellhound? Is it because it's going to drag him to hell, like to go face the music kind of thing, rather than kill him?
Yeah, he's going to be tortured by his he's going to be tortured by Lucifer's like minions. Crowley appears back and he tells him to stay, and they're like, you can control this hellhound. He's like, no, I brought my own. It's like a massive dog. And he tells them to sick him, and then like they all run out.
The invisible fight scene between those two hellhounds I thought was actually really good. I did enjoy that. Yeah.
They did it all with like practical effects. So like things actually like fly around the room.
Yeah.
Which is way better than like trying to do it with CGI.
That's why this episode was so circular and like all happened in that house, because they spent all their budget on doing this like hellhound fight scene.
Yep. And so we're then in some random alley, and Brady is handing Crowley a piece of paper, saying that this is exactly where Pestilence is going to be. And Crowley thinks it's good for some reason. Sure. And Brady's like, well, thank you. You know, you screwed me for eternity. And Crowley's like, nah, it won't last that long. Trust me. And Brady kind of just stands there like he's a bit of a lemming, just like not moving, because everybody starts to walk away, and you see Dean like laying down a salt line, and the way that Crowley just like shuffles, just not even quickly, he's just like do.
I don't know if
like, I'm gonna take my time.
I don't know if I was reading too much into that scene, I guess because nothing else was happening in this episode, but like the way that like Dean draws the salt line like right up to his feet, and then Crowley has to like choose which side the line he wants to stand on. I was like, is this a metaphor for him choosing sides? I was like, it's probably not that deep. it's just him being obnoxious.
I think so. It's like they're both testing each other, basically. Like, I could trap you in, and like, but you're not going to, though, are you? And yeah.
Oh no, you're right. That's it,
slowly...
though, isn't it? Because like, if Crowley had been trapped in the salt line with them, like, they could have just straight up murdered him. But Dean was choosing at that time to let him go. It was a choice. That's much better. Sorry.
Dean says probably one of the cheesiest lines we've heard in a long time, because Brady's like asking, what is this?
And all those angels, all those demons, all those sons of bitches, they just don't get it, do they, Sammy?
No, they don't, Dean.
You see, Brady, we're the ones you should be afraid of.
Did they like rehearse this in the car? Because it feels rehearsed.
It does. It really does. Yeah. And the way that Sam, like, I'm going to do the action, but you can't see it. But he, like, puts his hand out or his fist out and has a knife, like, reached up. It's so awkward. Like, what are you doing, Sam? Like, nobody starts a fight like this. Just, like, you know how to start a fight. Just start one.
He's doing, like, like a fencing crab walk. You know, like, you haven't seen him when he's fence. He's doing that where he's, like, sidestepping. Which...
Mm-hmm.
Why? Like, Brady's literally just like stood there.
Literally just stood there.
There must be outtakes of this of like Jared faffing around because like the walk is so silly. It's so silly.
Mm-hmm. So and Brady monologues while Sam approaches is like you know, he's like, oh, this is a real big moment for you, isn't it? Like, you're gonna feel better. And he's like, yeah, it's a start. And he's just again taunting him, saying like, you let all these demons yank your chain, Yellow Eyes, Ruby, me, and it's all our fault. He's like, no, but it's, you know, you're the one who trusted us. You're the one who let us in your life, let us whisper in your ear over and over and over again.
Maybe it's because we got the same stuff in our veins. And deep down, you know, you're just like us.
It's like, had this been said at the beginning of season 5, maybe, because, you know, we had that moment at the end of season 4 in Lucifer Rising where he turns into a demon for a moment. But like, I don't really see the connection of like why trusting a demon is because you're part demon and not their manipulation from the beginning, because that's what it is from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like in season 2 when Yellow Eyes is contacting him in his dream or whatever, like he's manipulating Sam into like leading the group of other psychic children. Ruby manipulated him from the beginning. Brady was his friend. Like, it was literally impersonating his friend. It's got nothing to do with like trusting a demon.
Like, if anything, it's just more confirmation that their lives are being like pushed into a certain direction, right? Heaven's been pushing Dean and their existence apparently because of John and Mary getting together with a Cupid. And hell have been pushing Sam in the direction they needed to. Like, it's not new information that they've been manipulated. Right. Like, they know they've been manipulated. That's partly why they're so angry about this whole apocalypse thing. Apocalypse. Yeah, and like, it just plays into the whole free will thing. How much free will did Sam ever have? Because he was pushed in many directions by everyone in his life, apparently.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's there is very little substance in this little monologue.
Yeah.
And it just, again, because we never met Brady, like we never saw him before this moment, like it really doesn't mean anything. And like even Sam killing him doesn't really feel cathartic in any way. It's just like he just killed another demon, and that was kind of it.
Do you know what would have been a better reveal? That Jessica was a demon all along.
Yes.
And that she set up her own death to manipulate him, and then comes back and is like, I was a demon. Like, you fell in love with a demon twice. Like, that would have been real hurtful. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine if, like, instead of this being like, this is Jessica in Brady's body. So Brady is just a guy. Yeah. He's just the head of the pharmaceutical company that's been possessed.
Yes.
By the demon Jessica.
Yes.
And like she said, like Brady would say something that would have been said between the two of them.
Yes.
And he would have been like, wait, Jessica? Like,
so, yeah. But then it wouldn't have played into, I feel like it would have played into like his anger issues so much, I guess. Because the reason he's so mad at Brady is because Brady got Jess killed. But if it had been Jess, it would have been like a sad moment where he stabbed her because he loved her. Which they needed this whole anger thing, because that was the whole point of this episode, was that Bobby's like, you're too angry to trick the devil. And Sam's like, no, I'm not. And then we expect him to be all angry at this guy who killed his girlfriend. And then he wasn't. Except he was, because he still stabbed him at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point of like Jessica being a demon, I guess that's too close to like the Ruby storyline. It's a little too close.
We're already going in circles in this episode, so like it would have been a whole nother one. Yeah. It does annoy me that Sam killed Brady, because like I said, the whole point of this was that he was supposed to be making a whole like a statement about him not being an angry person, and then he violently stabs him angrily in the stomach.
But is it angry though? Like, is it anger, or is it like payback, revenge? Like, you can have revenge and not be like super mad, because like it was calculated revenge maybe, rather than like. But even that's just me making it up. I think I'm trying to justify it.
I agree with you actually, because Dean's there. I think if like Sam had snuck behind Dean's back to like murder Brady, then like that would have been him proving that he's too out of control to possibly like push Lucifer into the pit. But yeah, you're right. It's like cold and calculated. So sure, I don't know. This episode was silly.
It really was.
Yeah. So yeah, Brady's dead. And then Sam walks out of the alleyway, doesn't he? Just like, swagger.
Yeah.
The last scene of this, I had forgotten about this, but I should have remembered, because we'll talk about why I should have remembered at some point. But we're in Bobby's house, and Bobby's talking to someone on the phone, and he's saying like, yeah, I followed it up. Nasty omens, but none of it's death with a capital D. Give me a ring if it turns into anything. It says, and Rufus, you watch your ass out there. So we're going to get to see Rufus soon.
Yay.
Yay. And,
yeah.
And then Crowley's there, and he says, chin up, cavalry's arrived. And Bobby immediately like points his gun at him. And originally I thought he was holding the Colt after you saying like earlier, where's the Colt? I thought Bobby had it and was pointing it at Crowley, but no, maybe not.
Charming. That won't work on me. Name's Crowley. Maybe
You're Crowley.
in the flesh of a moderately successful literary agent out of New York.
And Bobby just shoots it. And Crowley says, yeah, you have heard of me. I liked this suit, which originally I took as like the suit, but maybe he also meant the meat suit.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get that either. Yeah. I'm guessing this is the suit because his tailor is gone.
That's true. Can't get it fixed now.
Yeah. A couple bullet holes.
I did miss his coat in this episode. It's so much a part of him that it was weird to see him like in just a suit. Like He's nudie. He's naked.
It's like Cass without his trench coat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Brown cat.
So Bobby asks what he's doing, and he says, "Looking out for Crowley."
Yeah.
He says, "The boys are on to ring number 3. We still need ring number 4. Like, I'm here to help you, get death." He says he hasn't the foggiest where he is. So Bobby, also cocks his shotgun at him as well, because he's used his pistol round, I guess. And just says, this is such a good line. I laugh so much at this.
Link, get the hell off my property before I blast you so full of rock salt you crap margaritas.
I guess that's why he switched over to the shotgun, because the other one would just have regular bullets.
Yeah.
Whereas the shotgun will have the salt
Oh, of
rounds.
course. Yeah, of course. And he wanted to say that line. He'd been saving that one for something.
Yeah.
So Crowley's saying that he can get Death's location. He has a spell that will 100% work. And Bobby's like, well, if you have that one, why are you snake oiling me? So Crowley says that to get the magic going, he needs a soul. For Bobby to make a wish so he can get his soul. And he just says that, I've done more with less. Let's say that when they're getting their Grammys, they shouldn't be thanking God. And then, quite sincerely, Crowley says, "It's worth it, Bobby. Think." So yeah, he wants to make this deal, get Bobby's soul, to use it for some magic, and then he's claiming that he's going to give it back.
Yeah.
I mean, so Bobby shoots him. And orders him to get out. But Crowley sags, and he does say, I'll give it right back. And when Bobby says, "You think I'm a natural born idiot," Crowley's final line in the episode is, "Look, you're right to be suspicious, but I'm your ally, enemy of my enemy and all that. I need the devil back in his stock. In fact, my delicate ass depends on it. I promise you, temporary loan, I'll give it right back." That's the 3rd time he said it. So yeah, we end this episode with Crowley trying to make a deal with Bobby, and we don't know if he took it in order to get the coordinates to find Death.
Is this how Bobby gets his legs back? I feel like this is how he gets his legs back. I feel like it was part of
Yes, you're right.
the wish.
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah. So that was it. That's the entire episode. We were so quick on this one.
I'm so sorry, guys.
There was nothing. There's really nothing on this one to really add. It was very much a exposition episode. Some great one-liners from some of the characters, but other than that, it's pretty lacking in substance, which I'm really surprised at with a Ben Edlund episode. He's usually pretty good with actually putting in stuff. Also the fact it had a normal runtime and there was no silly, because it's Robert Singer. There's no silly slow down of the footage or anything like that. There's no weird camera tricks apart from the zoom, but the zooms are classic. So
yeah, I think other notable ones were it zooms in on Sam when he first sees Brady. That's quite a good one. There was so many in this episode. There was one bit of this episode that really disappointed me, and it's such a stupid thing. When they're in the alley with Brady, when you first see the alley, there's this mural on the wall of someone giving a wet shave with a razor, a barber shop mural. And I was fully expecting, I don't know if maybe it was a reference to Brady killing that guy by slitting his throat, but I was fully expecting Sam to kill him like that, because I saw the mural and then it didn't happen, and I was really annoyed about it for no reason.
I guess there's already been 3 throat slittings in this episode, so maybe that's why they're not another one. Well, technically there's been 4, because Sam nicked Brady on the neck.
Okay, fine. fine, I'll let it go. But like, there was a
even
whole
so-
mural.
Yeah.
Bring it full. If you're gonna do a circular episode, bring it full circle with the throat slitting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small thing that really annoyed me. Yeah.
Yeah. I understand why this episode was called The Devil You Know. You know. I can't remember what the entire phrase is, but
Better the devil you know.
it's like this.
Better the devil you know. So it's a step song. So that's how I know.
And yeah, I mean, there isn't really much else to say. I know we were hyping up the end of the season because like there were so many good episodes, and then I mean they've done exposition episodes before,
Yeah.
but I don't know. There isn't enough exposition put into this. Literally, the whole episode is just about how they're going to find Pestilence, but like. And that's it. Like it doesn't. They went to find a demon. Like they didn't really focus in on the. You know, I didn't get that the vaccine was going to have the Croatoan virus. They could have leaned into that more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It was missing information for sure.
I mean, it's laying the foundation, I guess, of Sam's plan, which is very important. I feel like that's going to come up a lot next episode because they sort of paved the way. It doesn't feel like there's enough time now to do everything in 2 episodes, but the thing is, it's only really 1 episode because I know half of the beginning of Swan Song is all about the car. So
yeah, I mean, and it has to be because that's the thing that.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's fine. It's supernatural. I don't know what we were expecting.
Yeah, it's true.
Again,
I guess. Oh, I can't think of the episode name. The one I just edited. Point of No Return. It was so good, and it's kind of gone. Like Hammer of the Gods was a little bit of a step down, and this was a bit of a bigger step down. It wasn't such a letdown again because Crowley was in it, and Crowley made the episode. So, but next week we might make up the time difference because it's 2 minutes to midnight, and like we could just talk about Death's intro forever. Well, I could anyway.
I do like it. I do. It's been a while since I've watched it, so yeah, I'm excited to see it again. It's going to be a really good episode. I feel like a lot of the problems we have with this episode are ironed out in the next episode, so
Yeah,
it'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay. But we know it's season 5. Everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything's going to be absolutely perfect. I do wonder why some of the next episode couldn't have been started in this one and have almost like a 3, maybe 2.5 and like lead up or 1.5 lead up to the last episode. Because it feels like the stakes of the next episode are so little because there is not enough time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this is the problem with like, it's not just a supernatural problem. Like when we had network TV series where they're like 20 odd episodes, I felt like there's always been a pacing problem.
Yeah.
That's one good thing, I guess, about having shorter series now in TV shows is that the pacing does feel better sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do miss having filler episodes. So it's that, you know, I didn't ever really want to trade fillers for pacing. I don't feel like I'll happily accept that over 20 odd episodes you're going to have to squash everything in at the end essentially sometimes.
Yeah, and I guess also for network TV you have to kind of assume that everybody's not going to watch it in the right order because, you know, not everybody's going to be able to sit down at whatever time on a Thursday night or whatever. So you might miss it. So you can't really have anything too important in one episode that you wouldn't be able to watch the next one without like understanding what's going on.
As far as I remember as well, like sometimes they would do like a end of season like double feature of the last 2 episodes to like get more views or whatever. Viewers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not viewers, it's like people watching.
Ratings.
Yeah, ratings. So the last 2 episodes of this explains everything that we've already all talked about, because that's the way television used to work, right? That you'd have everything happen in the last couple. Like if you think back to like Buffy, it was the same thing. Like it's
true.
They would stretch out this whole idea over a whole season, and then it'd all suddenly happen right at the end.
And also you have to build up your storytelling to like essentially leave it on a cliffhanger so that you can come back the next season to find out what happened. So you have to have your interest peaked so that you stay between May and September.
Exactly. Yeah. It reminds me of like the differences in styles between like Doctor Who, between like the Moffat era and the Tennant era. My brain's gone. Where they'd like have a whole Russell T Davis. Yeah, that's right. Between the Moffat era and Russell T Davis is like Moffat would just cram everything into the last episode. All this exposition would suddenly happen, and like there was wasn't really a lot of build up to it. It would all just like an explosion of information, and then whereas Russell T Davis would have like a very slow build up of like clues in each episode that would eventually like you would be able to point to and be like, that makes so much sense. Like it's got more like rewatch value, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, so I think you had sent me I was gonna say video essay, but that's not.
Yeah, video essay is a good way to put it. Yeah.
On Moffat and his like storytelling of Sherlock.
I watched that whole thing,
and like it was really interesting. Like and like I feel like the way that you described the end of Moffat's season is how he wrote Sherlock for every single episode. Like throughout the entire episode you didn't really pick up on any clues, but Sherlock suddenly, like, so the point that the guy was making in the video was like the Sherlock has the information that the audience doesn't, so it makes him look really, really smart, but like at the expense of the audience intelligence. And it's like, well, the whole point of like mysteries is that you put it together so that you can get it with the character. Like that's the whole point of these kind of shows. So, he kind of failed in that. And like, yeah, I can see that in his Doctor Who episodes, like, or seasons. His episodes are fine. Because they're one-offs, but like, yeah.
The episodes do the same thing though. If you think about it, like you suddenly get all the information at the end, like which is fine when it's like 45 minutes or whatever. I mean, with Supernatural, I do feel like you have a happy medium. Like I feel like it does have good rewatchability because there is some foreshadowing there that's quite good. But then because of the like network television-ness of it, everything just happens right at the end. Which I think that's almost like why. I mean, season 15 was kind of unexpected because it's almost like everything didn't happen at the end. Like, what? Where was the like climax of the season?
Yeah, like it. I can't remember every episode of season 15, but I feel like the way that it was written is almost like the end of a season. Yeah. Like. It's like the last 3 episodes of a season was stretched over an entire season.
Yeah, it was weird, man.
Does that make sense? So like there's a lot of exposition in each episode, which doesn't really go anywhere. Again, I don't quite remember everything that happened in season 15. Obviously, there's we had the stupid episodes. Yeah. Obviously, Baba Yaga. Let's put that out there. But it's like, I feel like they should have spent a lot of season 15 closing more loops,
Yeah.
and they didn't.
That's it.
Like they did for some things. I feel like, you know, I'm not even sure if this was season 15 or not, but like when the fairy of the bunker is there and they do all the holidays and stuff. That kind of closes a loop, but it also opened one in that episode.
if God closes a loop, it opens another one. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this often. There wasn't the storytelling didn't go. It didn't follow where you'd expect it to go. I think that's the problem. Ultimately,
Yeah.
yeah. I like the fact we managed to SuperWhoLock this episode somehow. We managed to do all three. The trifecta, we managed to mention them all, so that was good.
Yeah.
And got a little like season 15, just a little moan at the end there. That was, you know, it needed doing. So
We haven't spoken about it in a while.
yeah,
I think.
try to do it last. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really looking forward to next week. It's gonna be a great one. It's gonna be good. Put some time aside.
Yeah,
It's gonna be good.
exactly.
Yeah, so at the end of this episode, we'd like to thank Pixar Agora and his wonderful logo art for our show. If you would like that logo art, you can find it on Redbubble on lots of different things, like a thermos. And if you would like to come talk to us, you can find us everywhere. Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, Ko-fi even, as Escaping Purgatory Podcast. So you can find us also on Twitter as Escaping Podcast. Yeah, so come say hi and moan about this episode. Or like, you know, just fawn over Crowley with us.
Exactly. So this week we got a surprise visit from an old friend who will become a good friend in the future. We thought he screwed us over multiple times, but actually might have saved the day in the end. So hopefully next week we can find a way out.
Bye.
Bye.